Have you ever wondered who really built modern America? We all know the famous names from our history books: Washington, Lincoln, Edison, Ford. But what about the countless others? The silent architects, the unsung innovators, the everyday heroes whose stories have been lost to time. Today, we're repealing back the layers of history to shine a light on the forgotten figures who truly shaped the nation we live in. These are the stories you were never taught in school. Let's start with the innovators who revolutionized our daily lives. We hear about Thomas Edison, but what about Nikola Tesla? His work with alternating current is the reason we can power our homes and cities today. His genius laid the groundwork for wireless communication, robotics, and so much more, yet he died in relative obscurity. Then there's George Washington Carver. Many know him for his work with peanuts, but he was a brilliant agricultural scientist who developed hundreds of products from crops like soybeans and sweet potatoes. He taught struggling farmers how to practice crop rotation to restore depleted soil, saving the agricultural economy of the South. These weren't just inventors, they were visionaries who saw a better future. But for every recognized genius, there are thousands of others whose contributions were overlooked, their names erased from the textbooks, their patents credited to others. They are the invisible giants on whose shoulders modern technology stands. Now, let's talk about the backbone of America, the immigrants and laborers who physically built this country. Look at the Transcontinental Railroad, a monumental feat of engineering. It was largely built by Chinese and Irish immigrants, who chiseled through mountains and laid track across treacherous landscapes for pitiful wages. They faced extreme danger, harsh weather, and rampant discrimination. When the final golden spike was driven, the famous photograph commemorating the event included executives and politicians. But the Chinese workers who sacrificed so much were nowhere to be seen. It's the same story in our sprawling cities. Italian and Eastern European immigrants built the subways and skyscrapers of New York. In the steel mills of Pittsburgh, workers from all over the world endured grueling 12-hour shifts in life-threatening conditions. In the fields of California and the Southwest, Mexican and Filipino laborers toiled under the hot sun to feed the nation. And we must never forget the generations of African Americans whose forced labor built the economic foundation of the early United States. These were not just workers, they were pioneers. They built communities, started businesses, and infused America with their rich cultures, all while facing prejudice and exploitation. Their sweat and sacrifice are literally embedded in the foundations of our nation's infrastructure. They are the reason America could grow into an industrial powerhouse. Of course, America's story is also a story of struggle for freedom and equality. We rightly celebrate figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks, but the civil rights movement was a tidal wave powered by thousands of ordinary people. Think about the local teachers in segregated schools who risked their jobs to teach Black history and instill pride in their students. Think about the pastors who turned their churches into centers for community organizing, planning marches and boycotts. Think about the brave students who staged sit-ins at lunch counters, facing down violent mobs with quiet dignity. There were countless unsung activists like Claudette Colvin, a 15-year-old girl who refused to give up her seat on a bus 9 months before Rosa Parks did, or Pauli Murray, a brilliant lawyer and activist whose legal arguments laid the groundwork for the landmark Brown v. Board of Education decision. These were everyday citizens, farmers, barbers, homemakers who became extraordinary leaders in their communities. They registered voters, organized carpools during the Montgomery bus boycott, and sheltered activists at great personal risk. They knew they might lose their jobs, their homes, or even their lives, but they fought on anyway. Their collective courage is what bent the arc of the moral universe toward justice. And where were the women in all of this? Often, they were leading the charge, even when they couldn't vote or own property. Long before the suffrage movement gained national attention, women were organizing at the local level. They ran underground networks to help escaped slaves, founded schools for children who had no other access to education, and established charities to support the poor. During every major war, women stepped into factories and farms to keep the country running. They were nurses on the front lines, spies behind enemy lines, and diplomats in their own right, building bridges between communities. Consider women like Ida B. Wells, a journalist and activist who launched a fearless anti-lynching crusade in the late 19th century, using her words as a weapon against racial terror. or the radium girls, factory workers in the 1920s who painted watch dials with luminous paint and suffered from radiation poisoning. Their fight for justice led to groundbreaking labor safety standards that protect workers to this day. These women weren't just supporting movements, they were starting them. They were strategic, resilient, and powerful agents of change, influencing policy and shaping society from the shadows, long before they had a seat at the table. Finally, let's honor the everyday American worker, the farmer waking up before dawn to tend the land, providing the food that sustains us, the coal miner descending into the darkness, risking black lung disease to power our industries, the factory worker on the assembly line, whose repetitive labor built the cars, appliances, and tools that define modern life, the soldier who leaves family behind to defend the nation's ideals, and the nurse who works tirelessly to heal the sick. These are the people who form the true bedrock of America. Their collective effort, their daily grind, and their quiet sacrifices built the economic and cultural foundations of this country. They didn't seek fame or fortune. They were just trying to build a better life for their families. But in doing so, they built something much larger than themselves, complex, dynamic, and ever-evolving nation. Their stories are not written on monuments, but they are woven into the very fabric of our communities. They are the forgotten heroes, the silent majority who powered America's progress. So, the next time you drive on a highway, turn on a light, or exercise a right that someone fought for, take a moment to remember them. The history of America is not just a story of presidents and generals. It's the story of millions of unsung heroes whose names we may never know, but whose legacy is all around us. Their contributions are a powerful reminder that ordinary people have the power to do extraordinary things. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel for more hidden histories, and share this video to help us honor the forgotten heroes who built America. We'll see you next time.